This bad boy, go ahead and pull your shorts up. So you can see your legs. Pull them up. Yeah, there we go. Make them like trunks. Okay, so I'm just gonna run you through your quarters and your mandatories real quick, just to see like what we're working with, and then I'll give you my 2 cents, and we'll go from there. Go ahead and get into a front and relaxed. Okay. Have you posed much before? And I'm not asking that in a funny way.
No, I haven't.
Okay, so
this is the extent of it.
No, for sure. Let's start by doing this. So let's work from the waist up. Every time I pose, I always want to work from the ground up, okay? Because something you'll see a lot of people do is they'll get into their shots and look great from the waist up, and they forgot about their legs.
Right.
It's half your physique. You got to present half your physique, right?
Right.
So every pose that I get into, whether it's a mandatory quarter turn or one of the mandatory poses, or even during my posing routine, I'm always thinking build it from the ground up.
Okay.
So your front relaxed. We're gonna get your feet shoulder width like you had them. And then the 2 things that you want to do, and this is kind of universal across all the leg shots, your front relax, your front double, your front lat spread, your favorite classical pose, all that. You want to have your legs planted, and then think about locking your leg out, and this is going to sound counterintuitive. So lock your leg out, really have your quads flexed, and then while you have that flexed feeling, break your knee. Like you feel what that feels like?
Yeah.
And then while you have that quad flexed and that knee broke, really think about driving your hips back. You feel it pull your rectus femoris and everything up there? Yeah. So that's going to be the way that you get your legs to fire and contract, from the ground up as best as possible is, think leg locked out, but then you're pushing your knees out, and then you're pulling your hips back, and you're going to feel that pulling up here in your hips and stuff, your rectus femoris and everything on it. Good. Yeah, that's a lot better. Yeah, you look like it. 2-minute leg transformation. Okay, so from the ground up, you can relax your legs so we don't cramp up. From the waist up for your front relax, what I want you to think about doing is get your arms out and get your lats as wide as you can get them, like literally flying squirrel status. You see how far my arms are out?
Yeah.
Get them that far up. Flying squirrel status.
Yeah.
Keep the lats out.
Yeah.
And then let your hands hang. And then break at the elbow. Basically let gravity take everything. You see how that looks with the big chest and the lats flared?
Yeah.
That's perfect. Let's add both of them together, lower half, upper half. So get the legs tight, knees out, hips back, and then big chest. Perfect. Wait till you see what that looks like versus how you got into it first. All right, so relax. First quarter turn. You're always going to quarter turn to the right. So we'll save the footwork for another lesson, but we're actually getting into the pose. So from the ground up, right?
Yeah.
So from the ground up from the side, what it's going to look like, front foot planted. And then what you want to think about is with this back leg, we're trying to fan and mash the front leg.
Okay.
We're trying to make a push-up bra with our back leg, right?
Okay.
Like more boobs, more leg, it's always a good thing, right?
I gotcha.
So if you're here, watch my legs, you see the difference between me like that, no pressure,
Right.
and then
Oh wow, yeah.
like doubles my hamstring. So that's what we want to think about doing is getting that front leg planted, really set, and then that back leg is going to be ever so slightly staggered, like an inch or so behind it, and then really feel yourself able to push that hamstring out with that back leg, and you're pulling. So if you're looking at me from the side when I'm doing this, it's literally like my legs, I'm trying to pull it across, if that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Lock the leg out though.
This one?
Yep, and then the back leg straight too. We're just using it to fan.
Okay.
And it's ever so slightly staggered. You see how much farther your heel is than mine?
Oh, it's too much.
Yeah, it's ever so slightly staggered. In an ideal world, you want them even, but that little inch gives us that cheat to be able to really fan that hamstring. Perfect. You see how you get that little dip right there when you push it out?
Yeah.
All right, relax the lower half. Upper half for your side relax. This is gonna be an easy one. I want you to get into that front relax we just practiced.
Okay.
And then I want you to pretend that you were holding a broomstick. Okay?
Yeah.
So you can't go like this if you're holding a broomstick, right? We're here, turn. See if I'm holding a broomstick, how my hands are even?
Right.
And subsequently my shoulders are even across the board. You'll see a lot of people like this, like this, like this, whatever. Front relax, twist.
Okay.
Good. And bend this arm just a little more. Good. And look that way, just for the pose. Big chest. Fan the bottom leg, get it tight. Lock the front leg out though. Perfect. Pivot a little more. A little more. Perfect, man. All right, relax. You get a feel for that?
Yeah.
So another good cue for your side relax is whenever you're coming around, the front arm, the lat should be very active,
Okay.
if that makes sense. So you're around and you're pulling that arm around enough to where the lat's active, and then you're keeping it down enough to where that lat's really engaged. You see it happen, you feel it, you see it.
Yeah, yeah.
And as you get leaner, you'll see that thing just fucking come all the way in there, especially when you got it firing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes a huge difference.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it again. Build it from the ground up. Good. Keep on getting around. Keep on getting around. Good. You see how it's tightening up that pec too? You look good, man. Cool. Relax. Face the back. Okay. Relax and pay attention. So for the back, what we're going to think with our legs, we're going to do the lower half always. We're going to get lower half set. So it's same as the front, about shoulder width. The difference being how I want you to build this is we're going to bring our hips, squeeze your ass basically.
Okay.
Right? So we're going to squeeze our ass. And once our ass is squoze, I want you to pretend that you're trying to drag your toes together at a point back there. So it'll never happen because like you have traction, but like if you were like on like a super soapy, oily surface,
Right.
I want you pulling in a way to where your feet would go like that, if that makes sense.
Okay, I got you.
And you feel it firing all through there whenever you do that?
Yeah.
Perfect, man. All right, go ahead and relax. So you feel how, you know, glutes tight, hips forward, and then drag your toes together. It gets that whole posterior chain tight. Okay,
Crazy.
and then from the waist up for this, my best cue that I always tell people is you want to point your rear delts at the judges, if that makes sense. So we're getting into that front relaxed, but then we're thinking about pointing the rear delts at the judges because the judges are sitting like 4 or 5 feet lower than you and then like 10 feet back.
Right.
So we're gonna get real big. Like I said, you're gonna get out, let the lats activate, and for the love of God, don't do this on stage. This is just a coaching cue, okay?
Yeah.
So get nice and wide, feel your lats active, let your hands drop, and then point your rear delts at the judges. Dude, you got a back on you. I'm really good at what I do, or he's just really good, but. All right, relax. All right, let's do it all now. Let's build it from the ground up. Tight glutes, drag your toes, hams and ass are tight. Then we're getting big, activating the lats and pointing our rear delts. You got great lower lat insertions. Cool, relax. All right, quarter turn to the right. Now you've done this before, let's see if you can reverse it.
Yeah, true. So we're
Good. Hamstring fanned, legs are straight and locked out. We're gonna get into that front relaxed and grab the broomstick. We're gonna turn, get that back lat active, and then bring the back arm around and get our chest nice and active, and good. So another thing to keep in mind when you're posing is in any pose, we want, go ahead and relax, we want to make a conscious effort to reduce the negative space as much as possible. So the difference between, see how that looks
yeah.
versus
Like,
that, you know, it's
Yeah.
so the negative space. Same thing with your side chest. When I'm here, like see the difference between like that
right.
and then
Like,
when I eliminate that gap, the least gaps you have and the less negative space you have is going to make you look bigger. So keep that in mind.
that's gold.
So let's get into that side mandatory. Good. Good. Really think simultaneously about bringing that shoulder back and around while keeping this active. Good, man. You look good. All right, face front. Take some breaths.
Do you need water?
I'm good.
Okay, classic is front double, front lat spread, side chest, rear double. Y'all don't do a lat spread, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think y'all do a lat spread, and then favorite most muscular in ab thigh, or favorite classical pose in ab thigh.
Yeah, that sounds
I think
right.
that's
that
right.
sounds
Yeah. All right, so let's get into our front double first, and you know, you doing classic. It's definitely something to play around with your leg positioning. So the quarter turns, the mandatories, it's like there's one way to do them, and you can kind of like make some modifications to it. The other mandatories is going to be a lot more what fits.
There's a bug
Man,
Right in
like right in my eyeball. What fits your body the best? You know, you want to, what do I mean by what fits your body the best? You want to minimize your weaknesses and play to your strengths. So if you have a small waist, hit it straight on. If you have a wider waist, and I'm not saying this, I'm just giving examples of, if you have a wider waist, we're always going to want to be angled and minimize our waist angle, you know?
Correct.
You have freaky massive arms, you want to take your chances and take your time to really show your arms off during your poses and during your transitions, you know? So it's all one of those things, play to your strengths, and you'll know much better than I will. But, so front double, you know, once again, build from the ground up. For classic, I definitely like to see like a little bit more of a staggered leg position for all of the front shots. And by staggered, I mean exactly that. You know, all the weight, primarily. What's your strong leg? Or the leg that you?
Probably my left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I want you to do is get on that left leg entirely, like to where this leg's just not even doing anything. Then I want you to put a little bend in it. This leg's still not doing anything. A little bend in it. Then I want you to think about just plopping it like that, but keep that bend in it. You see how that like, see the difference that little bend makes? Yeah, both in the leg and just the flow in your look.
Yeah, no, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Insane.
So get that little break in the leg. We're just letting that foot sit there. Exactly like that. You can relax the bottom half. And then from the waist up, what I want you to think about doing is when we get set, I really want you to get your midsection tight, breathe through your diaphragm, get a big chest. So and then when you come up, I want you to keep your core, not necessarily crunch. That's another thing you got to play around with, is what your core looks best like. Whether it's pulling a slight vacuum, just letting it come relaxed, or really crunching down on it. It's something to play around with and look at.
Okay.
And that's something that's probably going to change, you know, throughout the weeks as you get leaner and closer to your show. But we're here. We have our legs set how I told you. I want you to get that big breath of air, that midsection tight, come up into it. And the biggest thing in your front double that I want, damn, dude. Dude, you could be really good at classic. Bring your legs up a little, like really good. That's cool. Okay, relax. So the biggest thing in your front double, and it actually looks pretty damn good already, is the thing that I like to see is get into it. Is I really like to see, and you're literally doing it perfectly, a straight line all the way through there. You get any higher, and that's a mistake people think because they're trying to make their arms look bigger. You see what that did to your lats?
Yeah.
When you bring it down, see how your lats are there?
Yeah.
Next thing I want you to think about is externally rotating while keeping your chest big. You see the difference that makes? Yeah. Good. Something else that I'll say that's a pretty universal across the posing is pose like a big person. You know, I know that sounds like dumb, but pose like a big person. Arnold said it in Pumping Iron. You know, it's the difference between that and this. You know, be confident in it and pose like a big person. You know, don't, and really like get into everything.
confidence.
Exactly. Pick your chest up. Yes. Good. See how you're completely forgetting about your lower half right now?
Yeah.
Good. Build it from the ground up. Remember, get that leg set. All the weight's on that strong leg. Little bend in the knee. Give it that classical look and flow. Plant that one into it. Yeah. Bring that leg out just a little farther. A little more bend in it. And then shift your weight over here a little more onto that one, then bend this guy a little more.
Really sit into it.
Yeah. Cool. Relax.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How often, when you're prepping, should you pose?
Every day.
Every day for as long as you're prepping?
So typically, whenever I'm on prep, I will pose after I train pretty much every day. You know, for like you saw me yesterday, like a round or two of mandatories. And then, you know, as I get a little closer, like inside of 10 weeks, I'll take fasted check-ins at least 3 or 4 times a week. So I'm posing rounds in the morning to do that.
Okay.
And then inside of 6 weeks, I'm posing fasted every single morning, and then after I train every single day. And you know, my rule of thumb that I tell people that I help with posing, and then for myself, is to be able to pose 3 rounds straight, holding each pose for 10 seconds while being in perfect control of your midsection and able to actually stay in them.
Yeah.
If you're able to do that, you're not going to get worked harder than that in stage.
Right.
3 rounds back to back to back like that, that's like Olympia level shit. You can do that, you're good at any level. So, all right, let's get into the front lat spread. So for that front lat spread, I actually do like a traditional leg position. So just that, like exactly like we did in that front relax, you know, legs locked, knees slightly bent, hips pulled back, exactly like that. And then what I want you to think about doing is really grabbing your waist with your thumbs behind there and getting a real good push into there. And think about pivoting at the point you're pushing in and bringing your elbows forward and your chest up at the same time. Yeah. All right, now try this, relax.
God, it's wicked.
Yeah, grab up a little higher, a little higher than that,
Okay.
and then really push in on your stomach. Looks better lower.
Lower.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you see how your hands are kind of just like that? I really want when you start to be behind enough to when you get into it, you can, like literally I'm pushing my stomach in like 2 inches right now. See the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when you get leaner, your skin won't do that.
Correct. Makes
So-
sense. You know, I hope it doesn't.
No, it won't.
Being bigger, I like here and like this area.
Yeah,
is
no,
like
it won't. Yeah, it'll tighten up.
loose
It'll
still.
tighten up for sure. All right, that actually looks really good. Let's get into that though again.
Can I, before you start that, I'm going to stop and restart just to make sure that it saves.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. And then, but my phone's weird.
Cool.
sometimes.
Yeah, no, yeah,
It's like,
for sure. We've been
not
going for like 10 minutes. All right, let's get into it. Build it from the ground up. Good. Pick the chest up. See the difference?
Yeah.
Good. Push your knees up. Good. Perfect. Relax. It's like trying to like pat your head and chew bubble gum at the same time at first, right? All right, let's get into the side chest. And I'll give some instruction on this one just because it's an entirely new leg position. With our side chest, we're trying to accomplish the same thing that we were doing in the quarter turns, and that is fan the hamstring as much as possible and you know, make that leg look as big as possible. So what we're gonna do for this is, again, I want you to get that front foot set, get bent, and this is gonna be the funny part. I literally want you to pick your back foot up off the ground and get your leg bent like mine. So this is where I want you for your side chest, and that's how much weight I want on your front leg, okay? Because that's what's gonna make your quad come out and everything. That back leg is for balance, and guess what? To push that hamstring out.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
So you're here, that front leg's got pretty much all the weight. That back leg's there just to support balance and to fan that hamstring. So it's gotta be, it's gonna be right here. So that back toe, think about putting it right in your instep.
But the weight
Actually,
still-
I'm messing you up, sorry. Your front foot is gonna be in the instep, right there. And we're thinking about bringing that leg across.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, so scoot that front foot up, keep on scooting it up, keep on scooting it up, keep on scooting it up. Now drag that thing across and really sit down on that front leg and put your weight on it.
So
You
weight
see how
on this leg.
weight's on the front leg, not the back leg.
Oh, front leg.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I
And
see.
then really focus on pushing that knee across. See what it does to your hamstring when
Yeah.
you do that? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, wow, yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, so once we're here and we have the lower half set and you're really sitting on it, like that's literally like, you'll hear a lot of bodybuilders whenever they're at shows, you'll hear them yelling at their people, sit on it, just because literally, watch the difference in my quad when I'm just here versus
Oh,
see
yeah.
how much
Yeah,
lines and stuff come out when you
I
really
can feel
sink
it,
on
too.
it
I
and put
mean-
the weight on it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, relax. So we got the waist down. From the waist up, what we're wanting to do, and this is the one the old man taught me, is I want to be right here. And then I want you to think about this being like a safety thing on an amusement park ride.
Yeah.
And you want to pull that thing as tight as you can up underneath there because you want to be as safe as possible. Just like that. That's literally perfect from here down. And then from here up, what I want you to concentrate on is really picking your, see how I'm here? Pick your chest up. Exactly. All right, let's combine the upper and lower halves now.
So weights on this front.
Weights on that front foot. The toes about equal with the instep of the back foot. Other way around. So the front foot equal with the instep. Yeah, right about there.
Okay.
Sit on it. Really stick your hips back so we're standing up so you're not hunched over. And then come into it and pull that bar up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good. Perfect. Relax. So for the legs, here, I'll do it on your side. So get this back foot right there. Get that back leg back behind it. Then I want you to think about dragging that leg across the back one and making that hamstring fan as much as possible. And then sticking that toe right there and then getting the weight on it.
That
Yeah.
helps.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly like that. And then from the waist up, we need you to sit up while keeping that angle in your leg. Now get that big chest and crank it around. See the difference the turn makes? Yeah. Perfect, man. That looks good. Relax. Okay, back double. Okay, so another new leg position, same concept as the one that we were doing for your back mandatory, your back quarter turn.
Yep.
Only difference is we're gonna stagger our feet a little. So rough jumping off point, back foot's toes equal with the heel, shoulder width apart, a little duck footed. Same concept, glutes are tight, hips are pulled forward, then you're sitting on it and trying to drag your toes together. Bend your knees a little more. Perfect. Should be able to, yep, real tight all through here, glutes are tight. That feel good?
Yeah.
Feel easy to sit in and get set?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, relax. From the ground up, you got what we're doing from the waist down. From the waist up, what I want you to do, and this is gonna be something that you play around with during your posing practice, is you find out what looks best to show off your back getting into the pose, because this is one of the best opportunities you have to really show off whatever.
Right.
But what we wanna end up in is the same concept is the back relaxed. I want you here. I want you to think about pointing your rear delts at the judges, externally rotating as much as possible. And then the final cue is to be pulling your elbows down because we want your lats activated. And I'm gonna get behind you and provide some resistance so you can actually get the feel for that. So legs set, build it from the ground up. Let's get into that back double. Good, externally rotate. Don't pinch your back though, reach out with your elbows. And then bring your elbows down. You feel how your lats activate? You feel that feeling?
Yeah.
Don't lose that feeling. Perfect, man. Got a great back. All right, relax. All right, let's get into it again. Build it from the ground up. Good. Reach out with your elbows. Perfect, man. Relax. That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Okay, ab thigh. So this is one of those, like, you can hit it like a million different ways. It's probably like the one that has the most variability as to how you hit it. So me, and it's more of a bodybuilding one, I hit mine like that. You can hit it straight on. You know, you can stagger your legs. You can come there. It really is going to be something you just want to play around with it.
Okay.
Whatever presents your physique the best, and it's going to change as you get leaner.
Right.
The big takeaways, though, is just like any other pose, we want to build it from the ground up with whichever leg position that we decide to get into. And then the one, you know, like tip, trick, whatever you want to call it with the ab pose, is regardless of, you know, whether you're crunching it like that, whether you're coming over, like regardless of how you hit it, what I want you to do is contract it, blow all the air out, have it squeeze as hard as you fucking can squeeze, and then pick up just a little bit, if that makes sense. So you have it completely tensioned, and then you pick up with it tensioned.
So we're blowing out, squeezing.
Blowing out, squeezing, and then coming up just like half an inch. Really pull and tense the abs, exactly like that. Cool. And then from the waist down, really and truly, play around with your leg positioning at home, however you want to do it.
Yeah.
But regardless of how we do it, remember, it's half your physique. You can't forget about your legs when we're flexing our abs.
Right.
So you find your leg positioning, get them cranked, get them set, and then they're there, they're done. They're tense the rest of the time. And then you can get up here and get into everything, but you don't want to have this relaxed while you're finding the pose.
Right.
Perfect. Then let's try this. Let's stick this leg out forward and then crunch, turn and crunch down on it a little bit. Yeah. And see, there's just a bunch of different ways to hit it, to play around with it.
Yeah.
That looks good though. And then I just got done saying that probably has the most variation. For y'all, favorite classical pose, it's literally whatever the hell you want, man. So it's, you know, for classic, in my mind, you know, your favorite classical pose, typically, whatever you do, don't hit it most muscular. They won't
I
like
that pose, but that's not
they won't like that. But you know, I like anything that really, you know, plays to your strength. So for you, in my opinion, you know, with the arms you have and stuff like that, I'd probably play around, you know, with something, you know, like a 3/4 shot, or, you know, like just something that, you know, has you twisting. And yeah. Yeah, great back. Yeah. Then try getting to that front double leg position. Have one hand on the hip like we're doing that front lat spread. And then bring the other up into the front double. Then look over at that bicep. There you go. There's favorite classical pose. That looks good on you. That looks really good on you, man. Cool. For your first time, it wasn't your first time to me. That was awesome, man. Do you have any questions now that we've gone through it all about any of the poses?
No, man, that was like huge. Like, I mean, I've watched some videos and stuff and messed around, but just a couple little things you said, I could feel the difference.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
much.
It makes a lot of difference, like working with some of them, actually being there to be able to like see it and cue you and stuff. So, you have the video of everything we did today. So just go home and start drilling it, man. And you know, in a couple weeks after you've had some practice, take some videos and shoot them over to me, and I'd be more than happy to give you some feedback on them.
Appreciate it.
For sure, dude. It was awesome. Good job. I was really impressed.